Hey guys, Rob Coles here. Welcome to Armchair Conversations. It's funny, I did a little encouragement talk a little bit ago, and now it's helped me to be awake and to want to say something else on that subject. I know sometimes it can be very tough when you're working really hard to accomplish something, especially when it feels like you're not getting where you need to go, or the going is slow, or you meet with opposition, or you know, the people don't call back on the sales call, or the baby cries at 3 a.m. when you're already freaking tired. There's or you have an idea of the future and you're looking at it so strongly, and you're not really realizing that you got to get through now and where you're at today to get there. Progress is awesome, but process is necessary. um, the baby steps sometimes are the things that get you to the ultimate goal that you want, and they're not always easy, because again, when the real world hits you, when when you've come down from the mountain of feel good, okay, and I'll say it that way, because I've got my uncle always says to me, sometimes people will ride high on an emotion and they'll make a statement or a commitment that they think is really truthful, when the truth is they're riding high on the emotions. But when the feel good is gone, so is the motivation. um, so what I'll say to you is, uh, I'm not against making those statements in the feel good phase, when you're like riding high and you're having this wonderful moment and you feel so good and you say, I'm going to do blah. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the real work is the baby steps that come after that, the discipline to stick to it, um, the small things hammered out over time, because again, longevity has effect. And so the small things hammered out over time, and the baby steps that you take now, and your attitude about where you're at, okay, have a lot to do with moving forward and becoming successful. Um, Matter of fact, T.D. Jakes, who used to live here in West Virginia, I knew his family personally, and one of the things that he always said that I liked was to not despise the day of small beginnings. You know, Sitting here on this camera and talking to you guys is not always, like I say, easy. You worry about a few things sometimes, and sometimes I don't worry about anything. I just get on here and talk, and I'm becoming more comfortable with it, and that's the whole point. But just because I'm sitting on this camera and it's unscripted, and maybe I don't have makeup and I don't have the right clothes, quote unquote, and all that kind of thing, doesn't mean that this isn't going to turn into something cool. It's already changed my life, because I've enjoyed sitting here and talking to you guys and being able to get on camera when I feel like, I want to encourage someone to continue to go. Maybe you guys that watch me will look at me and realize that, okay, yeah, he's sitting in his den, which isn't really even a den, talking to us on some cheap camera that he bought at Kmart. So what? It's the day of small beginnings. But if you hammer out things over time, if I begin to practice my speaking and beat up on my craft, as Will Smith says, which I like very much, you know, it can become something more. You can become something better. So that's why I'm encouraging those of you that are tired and feeling like that you haven't gotten anything out of where you're going, or that you're working hard and you're not getting a payoff. Just keep hammering it out over time. Beat up on that craft. You know, do that extra assignment when you don't have to. Um, Take that extra moment to be grateful for what you do have, because a lot of times you can always have a lot worse. Because the fact that you're able to even get on and access YouTube and the internet and hear me means that you're in a place where some people aren't. There are some people that don't even know what a computer is, don't have an idea what the internet is, much less um, don't have access. So you are probably farther ahead of the curve than you realize, even though you may not be where you want to be, and that may be bugging the hell out of you. But the truth is, just keep hammering those small steps out over time, and you'll get there. because the day of small beginnings doesn't mean a whole lot. Because I grew up Christian and I like some of the stories in the Bible, I was very much a fan of, and this is going to be a kind of a vulnerable moment. And I haven't really shared this with a lot of people, but it is something that has driven me up until this point. But I like the story of David in the Bible because to me, David was a balanced man and he was the epitome of what God intended for us to be balanced, not only good, but our bad, and the control with which and the discipline with which we exercise both halves of our personality. Um, but he was someone who was a small beginnings person. Okay, shepherd in the field. Lion comes, takes a sheep, he kills the lion. Bear takes the sheep, kills the bear. Um, with a slingshot, and some rocks, which is basically a piece of old cloth and some rocks, and he takes care of business. But he's grateful for where he's at and what he has, and he does the best of his ability with it. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Even if you feel like what you have isn't enough, if you feel like you don't, you despise what you're working with, be grateful for the fact that you have anything to work with at all, and work it. Work it until it becomes something else. Because, I do believe in the scriptures when it talks about being faithful over a few things versus being ruler over many. You know, I think that there are things that you develop in the small stages, in the baby steps hammered out over time, in the hours and hours of beating up on your craft that make you ready for the next level. I'm learning this lesson myself, sitting up here talking to you guys. The things that I'm going to learn by talking to you guys, watching myself, hearing what I have to say, getting your feedback and comments is going to help me become better at this. Um, Again, I may always feel the niche of raw and unscripted, even though I'm going to practice both sides, both the organized speech and just sitting around in my armchair talking to you guys. That's why it's called Armchair Conversations. But I can't despise the day of small beginnings with my little camera and my little, uh, mock den. Okay, I have to be willing to get out here and do, and be willing to be okay with where I'm at and actually enjoy and have fun with it, which is what I try to do when I get up here and talk to you guys. And you have to do the same. You know, um, it may not be what you want it to be yet, but it can be. But I can guarantee you it'll never be if you don't keep going, if you don't keep trying, if you don't see what you can see, be who you can be, do what you can do, and be cool with that, and then keep pushing forward. Because people think because you're grateful for something, that means that you have to stop there and be complacent. And I say, oh no. I say, be grateful for it while wanting more, and you can move further. Because being grateful for it opens up a part of your personality that's going to allow you to now look for the better, the cleaner, the purer, the more powerful, and push forward, in my opinion. Okay. So again, I'm basically trying to say, don't give up. Don't give in. Don't despise the day of small beginnings. Don't despise the days when you could only eat, ramen noodles, because there will come a time, if you're diligent and faithful about applying yourself, that won't be the case. And the reason I know is because I've done it. Okay, twice. Okay. I started out with little to nothing, and I built something nice, and then I lost it. And now I'm in the process of building it again. But the thing that it taught me to have to struggle and also to learn to be grateful for what I have is it taught me how transient that these things are. They can be gone in a moment's notice. The ring that's on your finger now can adorn someone else's in an instant. Okay? But who you are intrinsically and the parts of you that are good and make you happy are going to be the parts that stick. And they're the parts that allow you to do the work to get you to a better place. They're the parts that allow you to have heart and courage and stick it out when things aren't quite right and you don't like the results you've gotten. And so, dig down deep in yourself and find that part of yourself that is the warrior inside that will push you further, that remembers why you're doing this, that remembers that this is not your end, this is your beginning. And so go for it. Move forward, move faster, move harder, push and grow, and understand that just because this is where you are doesn't mean this is where you're going to be forever. But the habits that you develop over time are definitely going to take you into different places. Zig Ziglar often said it's your attitude, not just your aptitude, that will determine your altitude. And I think he's right. Attitude is more important than just about any other factor I've found in terms of feeling happy and feeling good about yourself. So dig down deep and find that thing that makes you feel cool, makes you feel good. Realize that you've done some good things up until now, and that you've made some progress, and that you're going through a process. And just hit it. Go for it. Jump on the bandwagon. Sail the boat. Do your thing. Do your dance. Beat your drum and go. I know you can do it. I'm believing that I can do it too. And so maybe one day we'll meet up together and we'll share an armchair conversation. You can tell me about how that despite all odds, you found a way to make it work and you became somebody. Because nothing else would jazz me more than to know that somebody heard this and it helped them at a time when they needed it. So, guys, I really appreciate you sharing my armchair. And I think despite my better nature, I'm going to bed because it's part of discipline too, which we'll talk about sometime in the future. Thanks for sharing my armchair. Peace.